Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And welcome to Living Beyond Limits. I am Reverend Jennifer Spear, and we are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living. And Ginny, welcome back. We've missed you. And I'd also like to do a shout out to Carolyn Tate online. We miss you also, but welcome, everyone. And so let's begin our service today by reading our mission statement that's on the front of the bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. And so that's what we are doing here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity to recognize that divine presence that is always where we are, regardless of what we're doing, regardless of what's happening in our life, that we are immersed in that one, and that presence also lives within us, that it is the very essence of our spiritual nature. Our divine nature is none other than an emanation, an individualized expression of that one. And what happens then is, as we come to know that, and as we come to practice that presence, walk in that presence, in an awareness of that presence, that life changes for us. That we then are able to access the peace that lives within us, or the love that is always within us, access the truth of our own wholeness or our own authentic power. And that allows us to stand in our own power. It allows us to be willing to go out into the world and be authentic and to be vulnerable. And when life is not reflecting back to us peace or love or kindness or generosity, we aren't as reliant on getting that from the world because it already exists within us. And as we recognize that, we are able to bring it forward and to share it. And as we do that, we become a beneficial presence in this world. And so thank you, every single one of you, for answering the call of your own spirit, of that within you that always knows it's never separate, and of bringing that into this world. Thank you. So do you have any issues in your life that feel unresolved at the moment? Or is there anywhere in your life that you have things going on that aren't exactly as you want them to be, and you don't quite yet know how to resolve them? You know, I think there will always be things that come up in our lives as human beings here on this planet Earth that we want to be different than they are. Things that we feel like we need to resolve, whether it be something that's happening in one of your relationships, or something that's happening at work, or something that's going on in your financial life, or your home life, or even in your body. Why is that? Why is it that there's always something that is kind of unresolved in our lives? You know, I think that really that's kind of just the nature of life. That the nature of life is never static. It's always moving, and it's always in flux, and it's always fluid. And so are we. You know, our tastes change, and what we're doing changes, and what we want changes. And then there's also that one little other thing, that we're living this life with all these other human beings, and none of them consult us before they decide what they're going to do in this world. And so regardless of what's happening in our lives or not happening, what we really want at the deepest level is to feel secure. We want to feel secure as we move through those things. We want to have confidence in our ability to resolve whatever it is that's happening, whatever isn't working. We want to have confidence that we will know what to do and when to do it. We want to have confidence that we actually have what it takes to resolve that thing, and that we will know how to do that. But I think there are lots of different reasons why it feels so hard to be in that place of uncertainty, to be in that place where things aren't yet resolved. And I think one of the problems is that we stay so focused on the problem. We're so focused on what it is that isn't working, what it is that we don't like, what it is that's unresolved. And of course, we rehash it and we rehash it and we play the scenario over and over and over in our minds. And we talk to our friends about it and we tell them how awful it is and how hard this is and how stuck we are. The problem with that really is that staying focused on the problem doesn't leave any room in our thinking for the resolution to that problem. It doesn't leave any room for the solution or the answer to come forward when our entire focus is on the problem and how hard it is. I think the second thing that happens why it's so uncomfortable to be in that place where things are unresolved is because we think we have to rely on our own egoic self to solve it. We have to rely on our own human thinking to figure it out, to solve it, to change the situation. But the thing is about our very human mind and that egoic self, we really only have access to what we've already learned. We really only have access to the information that we've already gained, what we've already experienced, or what we've seen someone else experience, and we've been privy to that, so we've been able to discover what the solution is. So our egoic mind is actually based in our history and in our experiences, and our egoic human mind can draw from that, but that's the only knowledge that it has. So when we think that our own egoic mind has to solve it, of course it's going to feel uncomfortable if we don't yet know the answer. And so there's a story that I'd like to share with you. And it says, as the night fell heavy in the heights of the mountain, a climber got lost and could not see anything. All was black, and there was zero visibility. The moon and the stars were covered by the clouds. He continued climbing, disoriented, but only a few feet away from the top of the mountain, suddenly he slipped and fell into the air. Falling at great speed, he could only see black spots as he went down, and the terrible sensation of being sucked by gravity. He kept falling, and in the moments of great fear, it came to his mind all of the good and the bad episodes of his life. He was thinking about how close to death he was getting when all of a sudden he felt the rope that was tied to his waist pull him very hard. His body was hanging in the air. Only the rope was holding him. And in that moment of stillness, he had no other choice but to scream, "Help me, God!" All of a sudden, a deep voice from the sky answered, "What do you want me to do?" "Save me, God," God replied. "Do you really think I can save you?" "Of course I believe you can." "Then cut the rope that's tied to your waist." And there was a moment of silence. And the man decided to hold onto the rope with all of his strength. The next morning, the rescue team reported that a climber was found dead and frozen, his body hanging from a rope, his hands holding tight to it, only 1 foot away from the ground. That is that small self-reliance. I can only rely on my own thinking, my ingenuity and what I know in here. I can only rely on that. It's thinking that we can only rely on that egoic human self. And our problems in our lives might not be as big as falling from a mountaintop. Nevertheless, we hold on to them like he was holding on to that rope. So Ernest Holmes says, the person who practices self-reliance must believe in God as an ever-available, intelligent power. We must believe in God as that ever-available, intelligent power. Because the solution to whatever it is that we are going through, the answer to our problem is already held in mind, in the consciousness that permeates all things, that is the mind of God. that is right where you are already. So our job then is to access that information. And the third reason why uncertainty feels so uncomfortable is because we forget that one infinite creative intelligence is right where we are. That one infinite creative intelligence of the universe is with us and within us all of the time. We think that we have to rely on that small self. But we don't. We don't have to rely on that small self. We can lean into that something greater. We can lean into that something greater that is at the very center of our being. Ernest Holmes said, "Developing confidence in ourselves, in our ability to meet and handle all undesirable situations, requires that we must have confidence in that something which is greater than we are. Then we will have spiritual self-reliance. Weakness will give way to strength. Despair turns to hope. Hate will become love. Failure will become success. And sickness will dissolve into health. The action that takes place is one that moves in harmony, love, and order, quietly transforming everything that is unlike it. As we have confidence in that something that is greater than we are, it transforms that which is unlike it. As we lean into that, as we trust that, as we recognize that. When we lean into that spirit, then we're not being reliant on our history or our experience. And when we are in that place of relying on that which is greater and not relying on ourselves to figure it out, we create space in our thinking for a solution. We create space in our thinking for resolution. We create space for insights and new ideas that we haven't thought before. So you may know this about Thomas Edison. It was said that when Thomas Edison was confronted with a problem to which the solution seemed impossible, he would lie down for 15 or 20 minutes. I know that he had a couch in his laboratory because he didn't sleep well, so his wife put a couch in there for him. So he would lie down for 15 or 20 minutes, completely relaxed, letting go of the problem. This was his way of communing with the source of all knowledge. Often he would fall asleep, and upon awakening, the solution to the problem was before him like a vision. What I understand is he would lay down on that couch and he would hold a heavy bolt in his hand. And when he fell asleep, the bolt would fall to the floor and that clatter would wake him up. And he invented the phonograph, came to him all as a complete picture, every single aspect of it already in mind. He's creating space instead of his human mind trying to figure it out and trying to figure it out and trying to figure it out. Space for something new to come in. And so the title of my talk today is Refocus. I'm talking about having capital self-reliance, rather than small s self-reliance. I'm talking about that as we let go of our problems as problems, as we refocus and turn our attention from that small self to that absolute intelligence of the universe that is within us and is always right where we are, we create an opening within our consciousness. An opening for solutions and answers and resolutions and perfect outcomes. But we must let go, and we must trust, and we must listen. We must let go of our problem as a problem. We must trust that there's actually a way forward, that there is an answer, that there is a solution, and trust that that way is being revealed to us. And we must listen in silence, not listen to our jabbery minds, listen in silence, creating space in our busyness of our lives and creating space in the busyness of our minds to hear something new. That's what Edison did. It's exactly what he did. He let go of trying to figure it out. He let go of trying to figure it out with his intellect, with what he already knew. He trusted that there was an answer, and he created space in his mind for that to be revealed. That means that we let go of our problem as a problem. We trust in the good that is God, and we know that a way is being revealed. And so one of the principles that we teach at Centers for Spiritual Living is the principle of oneness. That's how this is even possible. The principle of oneness says that there is one infinite reality which we call by many names: God, life, spirit, creative intelligence, universal power. It is undivided, complete, and whole within itself. This oneness creates everything out of itself. And therefore, it includes both the absolute and the relative, the tangible and the intangible, the physical and the metaphysical aspects of reality. That means we are a part of it, we are in it, and it is in us. Centers for Spiritual Living teaches practices so that we can experience those principles. So Centers for Spiritual Living has practices to allow us to experience the truth of that oneness. And one of those practices is called practicing the presence. Practicing the presence means to be aware of that infinite one by whatever name you call it, to be aware that it is present around you, to live in and from that awareness that it is around you and within you. And one of the practices that we teach in order to access that infinite one is visioning, or what is called direct revelation. It says, as individualized expressions of the one infinite reality, we have access to the infinite wisdom and intelligence of ultimate reality. It flows through us, as us. To the degree that we set aside our previous ideas and become aware and conscious of the impress of universal spirit. That's what visioning is. Setting aside our ideas and opening to the impress of spirit. That's what's being called forth when we are having a problem that is unresolved that we don't know how to solve. Set it aside, set our ideas aside, our problem aside, and open to the impress of that which is greater than our human mind. And so I'd love to do some visioning with you. On your insert, you have a little piece of paper that has questions from visioning, and I think you all have a pen. And so I invite you, when you have that in your hand, to just go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. And to bring whatever that unresolved thing is in your life, to bring that to mind. Something that's unresolved, or some place that you don't yet have the answer. Something which you don't know the solution to. Bring that to mind. And now I want you to let go of it as a problem. You can imagine golden light permeating that situation, that thing. Golden light permeating every aspect of it. and the love of Spirit permeating every aspect of it. In that light and in that love, problem is dissolved. Let go also of your ego mind trying to figure out the answer. Just let that go. And let go of your doubts around that particular issue. And so as we turn within, I recognize that that absolute intelligence of the universe is right here. It is within us and through us and as us. That we are never separate or apart from this one, for it imbues everything. It is the consciousness out of which everything is created and the consciousness that permeates all things. Intelligence and love, wholeness and goodness. And so turning within, we turn to that knower within us. That part of us which is beyond all time and space, beyond this human realm. The part of us that was before we were born to this lifetime. The part of us that has access to the all-knowing. And we allow ourselves to just sink into that. Here, there are no attachments. There is only the all good. The all love. The life that wants to happen through us. And so as we turn to that, just hold that area in mind, whether it's a relationship or work or home or your financial life or your health. Just hold the area in your mind of what it is. And sinking into that knowingness, to ask that knowingness within you, what is the highest idea? What is the highest idea in this creative intelligence of the universe about this thing? About this situation? What is the highest idea of this that is held within that creative intelligence? Within that love of the divine? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And I ask again, what is the highest idea of this thing that is held within that creative intelligence of the universe, in the love of God? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And I invite you to go ahead and write that down. And to go ahead and close your eyes when you're done writing that down. And so turning it within again to that knowingness that resides at the center of your being. That is the knowingness of spirit. To ask yourself, in order to bring this highest idea forward, this highest vision of this thing, what must I embrace? What must I embrace to bring this highest idea forward? To go ahead and write that down. And turning within again. Resting in that highest idea. Resting in this vision. To ask yourself, in order to make this real, in order to bring this forward, what must I release? What must I release in order to make this real? To bring this into form? And turning within one last time to ask that knowingness within you, is there anything else I need to know? Is there anything else that needs to be known? And so I just give thanks for this opportunity and for this insight and new understanding. And I say, and so it is. So did you get anything new? New perspective, new insight, new thought? That's how we tap in to that intelligence of the universe that always is within us. It requires that we let go of the problem as a problem so that we can create space in our thinking. Because as long as we're holding it as a problem, that's exactly where it stays. The law says, yes, it's a problem. Yes, it's a problem. It requires that we know that there is no problem that is too great for the intelligence of this universe to resolve, to transform, to change. There's nothing too great for that presence, that great something, the infinite one, God. There is no problem in God. There's only solution. There's only resolution, but our job is to access that. Our job is to create space within ourselves so that we can hear what that is. And it requires that we know that we have access to it. So we move toward it. We move toward it. We make room for it. Ernest Holmes said, if you can put aside your fear, doubt, hurt, and negation, and turn to me alone, then you shall be made free. Be still and know that I am God, your capital T, true self. Be still and know that I am the life principle. Be still and know that I am the truth, dispelling all error. I am power, neutralizing all weakness. I am abundance, swallowing up all lack. I am your real self. Your capital R, real, capital S, self. That is always right where you are. So it requires for us to get quiet and to practice the presence, to listen to our highest knowing, and to follow its guidance. And as we do that, we then move through our lives with a greater sense of confidence, even in the midst of that which is not yet resolved in our lives. We move through our lives feeling more secure and more safe and confident and actually powerful. We move through our lives with greater ease. And so blessings to each and every single one of you as you walk this path of spirit, as you live this life of spirit, as you discover that great something that is so far beyond your ego mind and your everyday human thinking. Blessings to every single one of you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer. And so how good it is to have my focus and my attention on that presence of spirit. That one whose good pleasure is to give us the kingdom. That one that holds a life for each of us that is so grand and so full and such filled with freedom and love and good and joy and prosperity and everything that our heart desires. Life, spirit, the divine already holds that for us. For that is life's desire, to unfold itself in its fullness, to unfold itself in us and through us, in our lives and as our lives. For I know that in spirit there are no obstructions, there are no delays, there are no hindrances, problems that can't be solved. There is only infinite potentiality. There is only absolute love and goodness and light and beauty and joy and the wonder of it all. And so today I know that we are actually walking in this presence and with this presence and actually as this presence. For the truth of oneness is that there is only one, and we are each and every one a part of it, each and everything a part of it. And so today we practice that presence. We walk in that light with an awareness of that presence, with our attention on that boundless potential and that boundless good, knowing that it is right where we are. And so today we just pay attention and practice mindfulness and notice where we are stuck in our thinking, where we are stuck in our beliefs, where we are holding on to lack, or anything that is unlike that presence, and we get that stinking thinking out of the way so that we can be open and receptive. And so today we are open and receptive and grateful. So grateful for all of this good. So grateful for our awareness of spirit. So grateful for this life that we are living. This abundant and beautiful and wonderful life. And so we just let go of every belief and thought that is unlike that. And we rest in the light, filled with the light. That light fills our homes and our places of work and our relationships, our bank accounts, every place where we have had a concern. The light of spirit is right there. And so I also speak this word about every other person on this planet, that the light of spirit is right where they are also, pouring out the blessing in this moment And so we are each open and receptive and willing, for our spirits already know the truth. And so there is a stirring within each of us for an opening for something greater, something better, something more pure and more loving, something that more clearly depicts the truth of oneness. I know that is true for our world leaders and our politicians and our decision makers and our citizenry. True for all of us. Enlightenment in this moment. And so I release this prayer into the creative law of the universe, knowing that it is unfolding itself everywhere. And so we say yes to that. And we rest in that faith and in that trust and in that expectancy. And I am so grateful. And so I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. So I have a couple of invitations for you. One is to mark your calendars for the last Sunday in April. We are doing a community outreach project. So put it on your calendar. Next week we will be able to tell you what it is for sure. Also, if you did not attend our annual meeting or had to leave early, I brought an agenda and the financials, a bunch of copies of them on the back table, and I'd really like you to take one of those so you can look and see where we are financially and what's going on in our financial life, and to see what we talked about from the last year and what we're going to be doing the next year. And if you would like to talk about the financials, if you have any questions, you can talk with me or you can talk to Joy Janes, who is our treasurer. We'd be happy to talk with you about it. We'd like to talk with you about it. Also, so we have new social media accounts thanks to Pat and Mike and all that they're doing. So we'd like you to check in on Meetup and say you're coming. We have a new Instagram account and our YouTube. And so the links, how you can get them, came out in the email this week, actually, so it's a direct link, or the name of how we're being recognized is there. So we invite you to follow us and to like us on those things, and on Facebook to share the talks when they get posted and to like them, and that's how we build a larger community. Also, our Sunday talks come out every single Monday in your email box. We invite you to share those with friends also, and that we have prayer support after church. If you would like to put a prayer request in the prayer box, we have a box back there and we'll support you during the week. And we have prayer shawls, and the practitioners are always happy to pray with you after church if you would like to sit down and do prayer. And so I invite you to repeat after me. The love and light of Spirit are within me now.
The love and light of Spirit are within me now.
I own it and I share it.
I own it and I share it.
I am it.
I am it.
I am a beneficial presence.
I am a beneficial presence.
And so it is.
And so it is. All right.